Okay, guys, it's me again, Tartar's Queen Dragoness, again, back with another video, and you guys would probably be wondering, well, what the heck am I talking about in this situation? What have we, in 2025, been doing that elicit this type of response from you? Well, here's the thing. After all the controversy that happened on my week's vacation, I've been doing a little bit of background research. And unbeknownst to a lot of people, there's a couple of VTubers, well, actually, one in particular, that I'm going to end up putting her face on the screen, that got me to really thinking about certain things, okay? And that got me to use my actual non-Cocoa Melon brain. Yay! I'm going to be using my non-Cocoa Melon brain. So I thought to myself, what's this society at like right now in 2025? And I thought, and I thought, and I thought. And as it occurred to me, people are going to be thinking that I'm going to be disrespecting the Bushes again, right? Well, I have actually had my grievances with the Bushes. Today's society, the way it is right now, and how we ended up getting Donald Trump in office, started a long time ago. A long time ago. Not the George H.W. Bush administration. Certainly not the Obama administration. No. All of this stuff that's going on right now can be attributed to this man on the right side of your screen. Now, who is this man? This man is Jesse Ventura. He was a former WWF wrestler before he became governor of Minnesota. And by the way, he was not a Democrat, but he was an independent governor of Minnesota. Now, why, Tartarus, are you mentioning that, Jesse Ventura was the tipping point in order to have what we are going through today in 2025, which is a whole complete mess. That includes the whole Alcatraz Alley thing, the Gavin Newsom situation with the weed farm, the education system going down, yada 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 yada. Well, it's not only this guy off to my right, it's also Mark Zuckerberg. But Mark Zuckerberg was the one who put more gas into the pedal and put the pedal to the metal, while this guy was the originator of the entire mess. And I'm going to point out something in this statement right over here. So when I was doing my research, this top paragraph actually caught my eye. Ventura ran for governor of Minnesota in 1998 as the Reform Party of Minnesota nominee. He later joined the Independence Party of Minnesota when the Reform Party broke from its association with the Reform Party of the United States of America. His campaign consisted of a combination of aggressive grassroots events organized in part by his campaign manager, Doug Frenelly. We're not going to pay attention to this, but I'm just going to read this paragraph, and you'll probably catch on to something that seems to have piqued my interest. And it's going to pique a lot of interest. And original television spots designed by quirky Adam Bill Hillsman using the phrase, "Don't vote for politics as usual." He spent considerably less than his opponent, about $300,000, and was a pioneer in using the internet as a medium of reaching out to voters in a political campaign. Now, why am I highlighting this potentially? Because guess what, guys? With all the political propaganda that we're having right now, doesn't it seem kind of weird that there's a level of manipulation going on the internet? We have the whole problem with TikTok, which, by the way, the studies proving that the internet is like a bunch of dopamine hits. to the brain, which in turn kind of like allows the people in politics to easily brainwash individuals. But that's not the only thing that Jesse Ventura has been known. Historically speaking, and as the time that I was seeing this stuff go down, Jesse Ventura was also the pioneer to be legalizing the happy green leaf. Now, as it currently stands, there are 24 states in the entire United States that have legalized the happy leaf. California has fully legalized it, while at the same time, Texas has legalized it, but only for medicinal use. Now, I did some little bit of research, which a lot of people don't even realize. And this was quite disturbing. This might explain why in 2025, and maybe to some extent over the past 8 years, ever since Donald Trump actually ended up taking office, and the whole debacle with Sleepy Joe, was a little bit of an interesting statistic. According to a 2023 Gallup poll, approximately 17% of Americans reported using the Happy Leaf in the past year. This translates to around 44 million people. I did a little bit of research and said, well, what's the effects of the Happy Leaf? Short-term side effects includes brain and cognitive function, altered senses, distorted sense of time and space, euphoria, relaxation and mood changes, impaired thinking, problem solving, and memory recall, lack of coordination and slower reactions, dizziness and drowsiness. Okay. Physical effects: increased heart rate and blood pressure, red eyes and dry mouth, increased appetite, nausea and vomiting. Mental health effects: anxiety, paranoia, panic, hallucinations, temporary psychosis. Now we get to the long-term effects. This is the 70% of Americans, by the way. We got memory problems, thinking problems, and impaired judgment. All starting to sink in, people? All really starting to sink in? Let's keep going before we give my little take on this. Potential impact on brain development if used before age 18. Possible decrease in IQ. Increased risk for addiction. Mental health. Increased risk of developing schizophrenia and other psychoses, especially with frequent use. May worsen in individuals with bipolar disorder. May increase the risk of depression and anxiety. Increased risk of removing thyself from this planet and behavior among teens and veterans. Respiratory system: bronchitis, cough, mucus production, possible inflammation, scarring, damage to lung tissues, potential for lung infection due to weakened immune system. More research needed on the association with lung cancer, emphysema, and COPD. Cardiovascular system: increased risk of high blood pressure, potential for cardiovascular events like heart attacks and strokes. Cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome, causing nausea and vomiting. Social anxiety disorder. Seems like we've seen plenty of that already, sort of. Not sort of. We've really seen this happening. Decreased motivation linked to changes in brain reward circuits. Impairs driving ability by slowing reaction time, reducing coordination, affecting judgment of distance, and making it difficult to maintain attention. It's not safe to drive or operate machinery after using the Happy Leaf. Studies show that driving while While high increases the risk of a crash. Pregnancy and the happy leaf. Happy leaves during the pregnancy is not safe and poses risks to the fetus and newborn. Stillbirth, preterm birth, lower birth rate, learning and behavioral problems in children, higher risk of mental health issues like psychosis in the child, increased risk of gestational hypertension, preeclampsia, and placental abruption from the mother. All starting to make sense here, people? The crazy woke crowd that a lot of people were complaining about, well, let's just say that it's been linked to a lot of states that have had laws passed for the happy leaf. Oh, yes. Yes. So, my analysis show me that Trump should have not been able to get into office. Neither is Gavin Newsom supposed to be in office because of the shenanigans he's been saying. Yeah, you thought I was a Democratic supporter? Guys, Gavin Newsom is probably just not, maybe not as crazy as Donald Trump. Definitely not as crazy as J.D. Vance. And certainly not off the rocker as Elon Musk. But is pretty damn close. If he gets the chance, he probably would have become a MAGA member. If memory serves me right. So, all of this, the whole crazy zaniness thing, can be all attributed to this guy. And guess what? A lot of states followed his example. A lot of states started legalizing the happy leaf. And, well, slowly but surely, about 2 decades later, we are in this position right now. Not only that, this guy has already been seen under scrutiny for some weird psychological stuff with the internet users when it comes to Facebook and social media. So, along with Jesse Ventura, this guy kept gassing up Jesse Ventura's sort of mission to get politics into the internet, which is also leaking into the VTuber scene, unfortunately, which also leads us to the Nazi VTubers. Makes sense? I don't know. It seems very coincidental. It also seems very coincidental that Elon Musk develop a, what is it called? A VTuber version to illustrate Grok. Very interesting. Politics is getting into everything. We now have the tools necessary and the lookout posts to see that a lot of the stuff that is going around us can all be attributed to this guy. Now, as much as I would like to say, let's create a lynch mob to go after this guy, I would say that was great. I think that's great. We should do that. If this was a decade and a half ago. Now we're here in the year of 2025, and, well, we have to try to reverse the damage and the effects of the things that this guy and Mark Zuckerberg actually ended up promoting. Yeah. So, how do we fix the already bad damage that this guy has sort of paved the way? Well, actually, these two guys have paved the way in order to ruin society forever in the future generations. And this also includes the people who are addicted to the happy leaf. Now, here's what also a very interesting statistic. Over 7 in 10 happy leaf users, 71%, are actually Gen Zs and millennials. 71% of Americans who are Gen Z and millennials are Happy Leaf users. That's disgusting. Knowing this, and knowing how many states have legalized the Happy Leaf, not only for full legalization, but also for medicinal use. You can see where all this gerrymandering in Texas is all about. You can see how the votes are being manipulated. You can see how everything just comes to freaking together, right? That's disturbing. And these politicians know that they're doing this. They know full well. It just took them a while to get here. But here's the funny thing about this is that Gen Zs are so doped up, they don't even realize that they've actually created a monstrosity in America. So where do we go from here? Well, for starters, let's try to illegalize the Happy Leaf again, and then maybe, just maybe, we can get some sense of normalcy in America. Because as it currently stands, if these states do not reverse their decision to legalize the Happy Leaf, at least the Happy Leaf, make it illegal, then we wouldn't have this problem right now. Jeff Bezos would be using YouTube and Twitch as his own little plaything pen ground, trying to manipulate not only political YouTubers, but also VTubers in general. Which I'm very, very much very afraid right now of the VTuber sphere as it currently stands right now. I really am. I knew something like this was going to end up happening, all this like weird stuff within the VTuber sphere was going to end up happening ever since Dodger Stadium, when Gargura and her little duo ended up going in on a big screen. Which I don't blame the promoters, per se, because they had no idea that the after effects of the VTuber scene exposure would lead into that level of degradation. So, I don't blame Gargura, I don't blame the promoters or anything like that. They had no idea this was going to end up being a thing. But, it's becoming a thing. And I just want to make sure that everybody is freaking aware of what is happening right now as it stands. And knowing this, and knowing all this knowledge, it would be nice to see that the VTuber sphere, instead of completely fucking ignoring it, going hee hee ha ha, all this other stuff, like saying rainbows and unicorns and pots of gold and entertainment and hugs and stuff like that, really get down into the nitty gritty and start saying, okay, we have a problem. Let's actually fucking fix it. Okay? Let's actually fucking fix it. Okay? We got people in the government who's harassing VTubers because they're playing the silly little wizard game. You think it's just the woke people? No. You guys thought it was just the freaking woke people who are smoking the little Happy Leaf. After watching Shoe on Head's video, that's not all the way the case. That's really not all the way the case. Okay, I do have a sinking suspicion that a lot of the VTubers that got harassed during the whole woke situation was a lot of bots from the political side of the internet. Politicians, right-wing influencers and stuff like that. It wasn't just woke people. In fact, I have a funny feeling that the woke side of society was none other than right-wing politicians to make the left look terrible. Granted, it was mixed in with some left-wing psychos, but the majority of the time it was just right-wing psychos. Go figure, right? So that's the thing. Anyways, that's it for my little, insight to wisdom that I'm giving to all of you. Do what you want with this information, whether you want to go against Donald Trump, whether you want to hide your head in the sand, it's up to you. This video's out there, whatever. As for me, I'm going to continue doing my own thing, watch the VTuber sphere, watch the political news stuff, and, well, let's just say, burn, baby, burn. Requiescat in pace, and see you in the next one.